I'm recording now. Okay. You may start. Yes.
So let me give you an idea about what Vimodji is in general before me going into certain ideas and details and points that I want to make today. Vimodji is a video messaging platform that consists of quality video. It has, as of now, of about 7.5 million users, active users, and 650 monthly active users, and we're growing daily, including having very good brands in our platform as advertising, brands like Coca-Cola, Continental, Tires, Jack Daniels, Costa Coffee, numerous very good brands that advertise on Vimodji. The most important thing is that our success consisted of us figuring out what is localized content that each particular country, including Greece, the US, Spain, France, any other country in Europe, has very particular content that speaks to the culture itself. This is our particular successful recipe as of now. And second to it is the ability to find videos from the brands that users can share in between their online communications, which is very innovative. It doesn't happen every day. You don't share from YouTube, you don't share from the internet in general videos, but in our case, users believe that the reason why we put the video is because it's shareable through our platform. So they share advertising that usually are very good quality videos. So we have about 150,000 videos in our library that comes from movies, TV series, personal moments, music, fashion, video games, etc. Curated, that's a very important thing in our platform, the curation, which makes the difference. Some companies that did follow that with streaming, especially in the United States, were very successful, and curation is an important part to our the content comes from users, or is brand generated, or is curated by our team. Let me give you an example from a chat so you can get an idea of what videos people share.
You like movies?
I think that you got an idea on what Vimodji is doing. Basically, we're right now on Viber and on the Huawei App Store. And recently we had discussions with TikTok, so we can use their recommendation engine and basically improve our targeted video sharing by our users. But our plan, which is has not yet been materialized, is to be in all big platforms like Instagram, Facebook Messenger, etc. That we're working very hard every day so we can achieve that. That is a very important part on our platform and on our expansion. This is a favorite quote by an actor called Noah Weil, who portrayed Steve Jobs in the movie that I suggest for you to see. It's called The Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's the story of the young Steve Jobs and young Bill Gates, one of the most successful portrayals that I've ever seen. Of course, there are movies about Steve Jobs with Fassbinder and with Ashton Kutcher and many other talents, but this is a movie that really captured the idea of the true masterminds of the internet.
We're here to make a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here?
I will have to repeat this favorite quote. We're here to make a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here? With this kind of thinking, you realize how these minds have entered into creating those giants called Apple and Microsoft. Okay, now let's go to, you're about to enter and create a startup, a technology company. You have to ask the first very important question, that is your idea useful to the market and the users? And is there any need in the market? What does that mean? There are many ideas, wonderful ideas, but if there is no need in the market for this idea, if you don't cover a particular place, or if you don't solve a consumer's problem, either it's entertainment like we have, or software or hardware, then the idea is nice, but not applicable for you to spend so many hours, which I will explain how many hours it takes and how many weeks and how many months and how many years in order for you to go into the next level, the next level. I'm not saying that sometimes some very lucky people have developed a wonderful idea that was solved within the first 3 years or 4 years, but usually it takes 7, 10, 12, even 14 years before you're going to see a great acquisition, and at the same time for you, obviously, to be able to continue to work within the company to further progress your idea. So do you have what it takes? It really takes a lot of sweat to begin with. You're facing challenges every single day, challenges with the team, challenges with the investors, challenges with the co-founders. I suggest that if you start, you must have a co-founder with you, 1 or 2, at least 1, because if you don't, it's going to be impossible to cover the work that is needed. So find a co-founder that likes your idea, can support what you came up with, and can solve problems that you cannot solve, so you can make the best team possible. Have a strategy and follow it through. It's very important to have a strategy of what is my market, what exactly do I cover, how I'm going to go about succeeding, and you have to follow it through milestones that you have to put down for yourself and your team, achievable milestones. And if you don't achieve those, you have to think of why, or maybe pivoting within your idea to find better solutions on how to enhance those ideas into your market. Okay, don't try to copy others. Stick to your original idea. That's a very important thing. It's very important to stick to your original idea, because as you go down the line, you're stealing from here, you're taking from there, you're copying from other places. That creates usually a problem, because you have too many things within your idea and what you're trying to market. Timing is critical. You're either too early or too late. If you're too early, and think about it twice if you have the guts to continue, because sometimes you might come up with an innovative idea that is further down the line to come into the market. This means that you have to keep persistent and continue with what you came up with, waiting for your idea to be materialized in a market that's coming. For instance, this happened to us. Before streaming became popular, like with Apple TV and Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus and you name it, there was no streaming Hollywood and Los Angeles was the dominant picture within the market with movie theaters and so on. But with COVID and all of these things that we know that did happen, streaming became extraordinarily popular, which is something that helps Vimodji, our platform, right now, since we're speaking even with very big studios like Universal. So besides the brands that I told you before, Coca-Cola, etc., very big studios do start to realize that there is a new marketing method besides trailers for them to promote their content. So timing is critical. If you're too late, think about twice about entering into the picture, because there might be too many competitors that you have to face. So the first one is acceptable and workable. The second one, if you're too late, you better think again twice if you're going to enter into the market or not. Probably you're going to have a better solution within the competition, but you have to really thoroughly realize if you have one. 1 to 10 or 10 to 1. That's a very important part. Of your sophistication within the approach that you do have. Usually we count from 1 to 2 to 3, and we take step by step everything to happen and for you to arrive on number 10, etc. The 10 to 1 seems strange, but obviously what you do is that you mentally place yourself into where you would like to be in the future, and you count down at the same time while you're working on step 1, 2, or 3. Does that sound difficult? Yes, it is. But if you're able to sustain your vision and bring your vision down to meet yourself on the steps that you do, then if your idea is good, you're going to have a very successful process. It's difficult and it's mind-boggling to be able to do that. The parallax effect. The parallax, from ancient Greek word parallaxis, alternation, is displacement or difference in the apparent position of an object viewed from two different lines of sight. What does that mean? What you see from one point of view might be different from another point of view. So my suggestion is that as you walk down the line with your technology company or your service company, either or, try to think at any given moment on how you can see the same thing that's happening in front of you, the team, the investors, the market, from a different point of view, since a different point of view changes the perspective and gives you clarity on where you are comparing the different point of views. Endurance is needed. Be patient. There is no way for you to go through if you want very quick results, if you want the market to understand everything that you do, if you want sales of $1 million in a day. That's impossible. Watch this very interesting actor called Ari Emanuel. I'm sorry, he portrays Ari Emanuel in the very successful TV series.
I will figure this out.
Fear to the side.
That's an interesting quote. Put fear to the side. You don't have to fear what's happening with your growth, with fundraising. It's a marathon. It's not 100 meters. It's not 5,000 meters. It's not 1,000. It's a marathon. Just pray that it's one marathon and not two, because if you have two marathons, it's going to be very heavy. I'm saying that because in the fundraising part with the investors, in the challenges, you're going to have to face every day. You start with the angel investors, as we did. Angel investors put their money. They do follow the progress. If you're doing successful things, they give you more money. They give you the third time more money. But then, as we are right now, you're in the process of getting your first Series A fundraising, which is 10 million or 20 million. In that moment, the challenge is absolutely impeccable, since you're facing, for instance, we have an offer right now to get a convertible bond. Convertible bond means that you do have to take a loan from the investors and lock certain shares in case that you don't pay the loan. The problem with taking a convertible loan is that you do have to pay an 11% coupon every year, which means that if you take, let's say 20 million, you have to pay of approximately 1.3 million every year as a coupon to the investors, that this is how they make their money. So you have to think if you're going to take the convertible loan or equity, which is great. Equity is very nice, but it takes a lot of percentage immediately from the equity stake that you hold. So those are very important challenges. You must have a clear mind in those very difficult moments, because you are tired from the process, that the time has passed by and you have to decide. But if you do make a mistake in what I call the crossroads, which we are right now, then you have to pay for it. Address negativity. You're going to follow and find a lot of negativity around you. Many people will not going to be able to help you, will not going to be able to understand exactly what you're doing. They're going to say to you, go back and fix your pitch again. Your numbers are not great. Address negativity. Do not allow it to get to you. Listen to real mentors and virtual mentors of the past that you identify with and watching their interviews. Listen to others talking about their success and how they did it. Steve Jobs, I'm just making some kind of examples from Apple, Elon Musk, Larry Ellison from Oracle, Ivan Spiegel from Snapchat. Different ages, different mentalities, different people. You're going to learn a lot if you train yourself as a founder or co-founder to listen to them and to listen to how they did succeed in their endeavor. Be fully dedicated 24/7 and persistent. Inspire talent, have a great team. That's a very important thing, is the idea. Second very important thing is the team. You must have a great team around you in order to be able to succeed. Overcome obstacles, be cooperative with the investors, with the market. In other words, listen to the market, hear what the market wants, and address it in every possible way. Set up a paradigm for yourself and others, what you stand for. Sacrifice of non-important, make choices. Sacrifice things of non-importance. Don't allow too many things to come to you. Try to separate. Elon Musk very successfully said that we receive tons of information every day. The ones that are able to only keep the useful information are the ones that they don't burn themselves and they don't die out early. So be very careful of keeping what's important with the team, with the market, with the idea, with the technology that you have to face. In all cases, you need technology. And at the end of the day, dream a little. During the process, we're missing the dreaming part, which allowed Steve Jobs to create this giant called Apple, which allowed Bill Gates and Larry Ellison and all of these people. Dream a little, walk around the building, try to put yourself into some kind of thinking into the future, irrelevant of all the problems that you're facing every day. Most startups, in my opinion, have crashed trying at any given moment to face all the time the problems and solving them. Yeah, solving the problems is very important, but allowing yourself to dream, to put your fantasy out there, makes the difference, in my opinion. Here are some examples of emojis, which explain either the very normal recognized day, even something of help.
Someone help me.
Even the very popular kissing. By the way, we have 640 categories of emotion and feelings. So people have a vast library to figure out what to send to the other. It's a very interesting mission. And lastly, and most importantly, I have to mention that a major part of our technology aspect of our company is the AI, the artificial intelligence, the emotional intelligence. What does that mean? That basically we have the basic training data set from the videos and from what people share with each other, so we can teach the machine, creating layers of further recognition. As of now, 8 layers are able to be recognized. Our very important challenge is to put 22 layers, down the line, so we can receive emotional recognition in the world of emotional intelligence. This is how I am in between the decision, I'm joking, in between the decision to take the convertible loan right now of 10 million or the equity of 10 million. That is immobilized, but thriving to succeed. We have very carefree from what you understand, creativity is the most important part of our platform, delivering from very simple videos like this one to the previous one, which is very poetic with fantasy and carefree. This is a very popular video on how do you wake up in the morning and how do you share a very, by the way, also, all videos in our case have a positive feeling. We're trying to give people a quality, positive feeling message over the internet with quality, because as you know, there is a lot of garbage on the internet. So from the first moment, our philosophy was to build something which provides people with quality and good messages. This is a laughing video. Competition, I just have those slides. That's not, I think, useful for you. That's a company overview that says that how it works, how do you find a trending page, how you research by mood, title, or keyword, and hashtags, etc. That we exist on Viber, on Flexi, on iOS, on the web, on Android. This is a very important thing that I want to show you. We're right now here on 2023, and we have 650 monthly active users. As you can see, in between 2003 and 2024, we must go into the 19 million. So as you can understand, our challenge is that we've done the work here and we've done great, but right now we must get lots of money and lots of other team members, hire people, and get into the very bigger areas of our projected plans that our investors will come and ask and say, did you reach your milestones? That's the sweating part of our work. And for you also, it will be when you will have projected numbers and you have to really prove those numbers that are correct. These are wonderful teams. You can see all of these are wonderful, positive people. They're positive in the pictures, but they're positive also in their everyday work. All of them are different from different specters, from editing to tech, to CMO, to CFO, to our wonderful co-founder, Eleftheria Maidaki, to our beautiful and wonderful engineer talent, CTO, George Spanos, who is sitting next to me, just in case it's a technical question afterwards. And I'm about to finish, Evangelos, except if I can show one more video. If not, if the time is not there, I'm already at the end of the presentation.
No, Vasilis, you can conclude, as you planned it. Yes, you can show this bit.
This is a mass-up. We love mass-ups, and we're strongly gonna put competition mass-ups over the internet. Mass-ups is a collection of different scenes from different movies that create ideas, because we want to enhance creativity besides the good morning that you did see before.
Sometimes maybe it's not.
We're going to have also
She's quite sober. We're best friends. We love each other completely. I'm certainly the only woman in his life. And that lasts longer than most, doesn't it? It's forever, really.
Lose the brake, I'll give you a push. You pop your clutch and you'll take off.
Someplace you've never been.
Well, if it's in his city, that's unlikely.
Try me. They would spend the next 5 weeks together when something highly unusual occurred. Something almost magical.
And understand. I get misty. Just holding your hand. This one, different things are all different things. You still loving? Some I hadn't hated until it's breath long.
As you can see, this comes from the wonderful content which is called movies. Anyhow, we love creativity and we love to share things like that and users to upload similar videos. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you again, Evangele, for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Vasilis. Every time I'm seeing, your presentation, I'm sorry.
And thank you that you're present in that wonderful, very creative. There are companies that are only software. There are companies that are only software and hardware. In our case, obviously, we're entertainment, and we love that part because that keeps us and gives us the fuel to go every day to enhance creativity, again, on a quality base over the internet.
I took some notes from your inspiring speech because, as I said again, I wanted to invite to the class and to the students someone who has done it, someone who went from the idea I remember back in the 2012-13, we were meeting one of the economist conferences, and a common friend of ours introduced us, and you were trying to explain me, what your idea was. It was difficult for me to say, what do you mean, video messaging, and how will this going to work? And I had so many whys. You had all the answers. Probably, you were not communicating it well to me. It was, your first years. And so as the time was passing by, and the more that you were presenting your idea, you were finding the keywords, to demonstrate, your thoughts better and better. And but you see, it does take time, because what you were having in mind back then, it was ahead of your time. So I keep that note that you said, if you are ahead of the time, you have to think twice, and if you are below, after, you have to think twice again. Yes, please.
But now the streaming platforms are all over the place. We're happy to provide marketing service for them. We're happy to provide video, because GIFs, stickers, and all of the above do not cover the need. That's why I mentioned before the need. Do you have a need in the market? Yes, there is a need to share video, quality video with emotions and feelings in between your private online communications, because stickers and avatars and GIFs do not cover that, because they're very simple, very nice. They exist, but then video really is a real communicative tool for you to say hello, to say good morning with a real morning, not with a GIF.
Yes, with a GIF or with a sticker, that comes up and says good morning, and it's usually the same sticker that everybody else uses, because you don't have many options. But I have some questions for you. I don't know if there's any questions from the students that you might want to ask. Is there anything that you would like to ask? Because I have many for Vasilis. Hilary?
Yeah, well, maybe about the company. I was interested in the revenue. Apparently, it comes from advertisement.
Correct.
But is it like display advertisement on the app, or just like basically selling data to advertisers?
No. It's a display. We're putting a brand video on the first or second position of our keyboard, the main keyboard that we are on Viber, and people click and share that. Down the line, though, and I'm glad that you mentioned that question, we're going to be able to provide B2B data to clients, but for now, we're focusing on having successful advertising branding through video.
Okay.
And people can click and share. We have an incredible share-through rate and also a click-through rate in our platform. Usually the market has a click-through rate to 1% approximately. In our case, we're close to 3% on the click-through rate. And on the share-through rate, we have an incredible 27%, which is unbelievable. And that's why big studios are coming and knocking on our door right now to be able to advertise it. The original vision that was mentioned to Evangelos 9 years ago, whatever, on how as of now, we have the trailers in the world market, and this is how Netflix, Apple, all of the companies, right, advertise the movie that you're going to see. In the original vision, which is happening right now, it took 9 years already for us to be able to have a first line universal. The original vision was to take from the trailer 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, nobody shares the entire trailer. Everybody can share a 3 second, a 5 second, 9 second, 10 second scene from the trailer to talk with the other person. And was the original idea, which is happening right now after the brands that came and that come in every day. Content owners are coming into their platform and they want to advertise and market their movies through private online communications, which makes me very happy.
Maybe another question from me would be, do you have like well, this is maybe an impossible question, but I was thinking, because on the other hand, you said that you should like hold on to your vision and have resilience. But on the other hand, like listen to feedback, and you talked about timing. You shouldn't be too early or too late. So like, how long, or like what are the signs where, for example, you have hold on to your idea for too long and you need to change, or like, I guess it's a difficult balance.
If you have the guts to believe that your idea is innovative and will make the difference, you have to be able to be persistent and sustain and be patient. And that's the real, very big challenge, because many times during that process, which I was facing too, you're tired, you cannot continue, you cannot move on. You hear people complaining, investors are coming and are not coming. Some of them are coming and some of them are not coming. You have the team problems that you have to face, positions and so on. If you really believe that your idea is innovative and you have tested your idea within yourself, your team, and the market, will go and be successful down the line, you must have the patience to wait and do every day the work. That's very difficult. Pandora, which is a very similar to Spotify music channel over the internet, especially in the United States, it took them 13 years, 14 years to be able to be sold through acquisition. During the process, it didn't happen to us. They do music by mood. In our case, we do video by mood. The final acquisition was 3.5 billion, which is an incredible amount of money for the founders, for the team members, for everybody, for the investors, no doubt. It took 13 to 14 years to be able to do that. And during the process, in the 5th or 7th year, they couldn't raise the money. They couldn't pay the people. So they were asking every day the people, it's a real story. They were asking every day the people to stay because they believed, all of those wonderful founders and the team members, that it was a very good idea. And it must music by mood. So the team members sustained, they kept without pay, they didn't have the money, all of those wonderful creatures. And at the end of the day, they were sold 3.5 billion. Much of it went to the team members that they were able in those very tricky, freaky days to sustain themselves. So that's the answer to your question. You have to stick to your idea and be able to sustain within the process, no matter what and how many difficulties that it takes. That's my personal opinion that I have lived so far personally. So
Yeah, thank you.
And I fully respect your response, Vasilis, because you were working on a project that was not easy for someone to understand and to convince.
correct.
You know, so it's not that you were filing, for example, let's say a dating app, or you'd like a restaurant app, or let's say a recipe app, something that someone can get it in a minute. So was it? How much did the, let's say, negative feedback impacted you? Because I don't think that everybody got your idea, and I don't think everybody told you, "Oh, that's amazing. You know, you will do well." I mean, there were negative feedback, but not negative in the mean way that people, like hated it. But
Try to apply to competitions, and through that process, if you're part of a competitive group, which is good, and you applied for it, then you get a networking support that when you was alone trying to communicate the idea to angels and other people, you was having problems. This happened in my particular case through the acceptance of MITEF, the MIT program. I'm sure, Evangelos, you're familiar with.
I remember
through that MITEF, I found the other co-founding members, I found other people, I found more people to talk about, while in the first 3 to 4 years, I was striving, trying to get the angel funding, but I was able to sustain even in those moments while I was not getting any support, because people were saying to me, "Oh, you're doing video, but the GIFs are there, the stickers are there. Why do we need to send a video to talk in the everyday process?" So irrelevant if obviously your idea is not going to be a video sharing, but probably something else. Remember the sustainability within the difficult time of the waiting process. That's a very difficult time, and most people quit.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a normal everyday job, and they say, whatever, I will redo that in the future when I will have some money, when I feel comfortable. The girlfriend or the wife is complaining. I mean, all sorts of personal things do happen to people, but again, if you believe that your idea is solid, you must stick to it.
Well, that's easy to say, but very hard to do. You need to have a lot of character, and you have to have a lot of faith, and you did have that. Because, as I said, it's a very specialized application, so you have to really believe it and say that I will thank you for the feedback, but I will continue to believe what I believe.
Again, try to stick in competitions. The reason why I mentioned that again, there are many competitions and accelerator programs, but those things do help the founder, the entrepreneur, to find the window of networking within the real world of the internet and of what you're working with. For example, our first competition that accepted us in the early days was from MITEF, that gave us the ability from MIT to present the case and the first pitch deck, etc. Now, 7 years later, in the moment in which we're thinking about taking the equity, as was mentioned before, or the convertible bond, etc., MITEF came again, now on a higher level, accepting us. Today we got the invitation to present in the beginning of June in a number of wonderful investors here and in the States for the same 10 million that we're thinking about getting the convertible note. So all of those things do come into a circle. Now, 7 years in between, MITEF was not present, but 7 years later, the original competition came back. They recognized the ones that they worked 7 years before, and they said, okay, go. So now, as a founder, I feel great because, as I said before, there are going to be moments in which, as you raise capital, you're going to have to think, shall I take this capital, the convertible, no, what kind of capital, because you can really make the successful step in the company or create such a big debt in the company that then you do not have a way out, to say the least.
True, true indeed. I also kept some words of wisdom that you say, train yourself to listen. And I probably would make like a sign out of this and put it, in the class, like train yourself to listen. That's so deep, because you don't listen, entrepreneurs, usually sometimes they don't listen because they feel that their idea is so wonderful. They believe so much into this idea and they don't listen. So this is the why I came back to the original question. How much did the feedback that you received, especially the negative feedback, impacted you? Because you're listening, you say your idea to someone and someone tells you I don't get it.
My suggestion here is try not to be emotional. In the first fund that we met a long time ago, because I was very emotional and it was my baby and I was very attached to it, a group of investors across the table asked me the following question, which made me very upset, but you never have to show that you became upset at your question. I've learned that through the process. He said to me, but why to curate videos and why to put videos this way? And why don't you make AI to do that? In order for the AI, for the artificial intelligence or emotional intelligence to be able to take the data, someone has to put them manually inside. A team has to put those videos data, because you cannot pick up emotions from around the world and categorize them and so on. You don't have the know-how. So I suggest not to do it. In that meeting, I became so upset by listening to the work that I was doing daily to go then to AI, to move the data to AI, that I said, stop. I can't hear anymore. Do never do that. No matter how difficult the question will be, how negative or how ignorant the question will be, you do not ever show any emotion to anybody across the table, no matter. That's why before in the slide I said address negativity. Do not be against negativity, just face it. It's there. It's there for a reason.
Yes.
It's there for a reason. It's there to make you, one way or another, stronger, to be able for you to stick more to what you believe, but without to show to them that you're angry or upset or any similar emotion. It doesn't play.
And another point that I kept from the presentation, that you started with the localization. This is very important because the world is not really flat. Okay, the world is connected, according to Friedman theory. Globalization 3.0, that now with the internet we're all connected. But Pankaj Gemahat from NYU, our school, Vasilis, he was back at Harvard for many years, and then he was given a position on Stanford Business School. He came up with a theory that says, well, the world is not, flat at all. It's kind of bumpy, because it is, and those bumps are the cultural elements. Because now here I am in an Arabic world, it's Bahrain, a different culture. When you are in Finland, it's the Nordic countries. When you come down to Greece, it's the Mediterraneans, which we express our feelings better. How do you manage, to make yourself and your videos accepted? Let's say, how do you build a library that do you, for example, see where someone joins, logs in, and do you get an IP address to see that someone is here in Bahrain? So you show them some more Arabic movies, suggestions, or someone is there a way that you are managing this this localization or multicultural issue?
You mean technologically, if there is any word?
Technologically, because we don't want to show Christmas gifts to someone who is Muslim, or to say like
there is a different API for each particular country, basically, which shows to this particular country content that relates to the country itself.
So you tag the content with a location.
To give you an example, is mostly Americanized. It's a US content, very nice, wonderful, everything goes well. But in our case, we identified that each particular country and each particular culture, if that's Italy, or if France, or Finland, or Mexico, or Spain, or Barcelona, or whatever, they have a very different perspective. Some of them are similar. Portugal and Spain, Lisbon is very similar to Barcelona, but some of them are not similar at all, and there's different content that can work on the everyday communication between the users. That's a very important key. I mentioned that in detail because I don't feel any competition or any confidentiality agreement, but this is basically our key, our main key to thrive forward. And trust me, if someone wants to copy that, it's going to take a tremendous amount of time to find the content. AI does not give you the ability to find that content. You can. You have to curate. Curation, like Pluto TV in the United States, very successful streaming platform, is a very important part. So we will always gonna have, as Instagram developed the filters that we all know in the beginning. Right now, Instagram doesn't have filters. If you remember, Instagram in the beginning, early days, had different filters, orange, blue, yellow, passing through. All of this happened through a curating team that was curating the photographs from the users to the users. Right now, obviously, Instagram is a whole different story. It has fashion, is celebrities, it's a whole different thing. But they always keep the curation team always in place to further put details, small things on the UI, on the UX, here and there, on the photographs, and so on and so forth. So we believe in the curation team. We believe in AI. The future will be dominant with AI. We're in the early days of AI right now. We're not even in the middle days, but the future also will be.
I ask you this question.
But in our case, we believe that human integration helps the AI, not the other way around.
The reason that I asked you the question about localization, because I understood that this is one of your strengths. And I wanted to put it in such a way with the students to understand that this is what we call, on week 3, we talked about the VRIO theory, VRIO. The VRIO theory says that what resources, they are valuable, they are rare, they are hard to imitate, and you build a strategy around them. So there are 4 elements. And the localization seems to be, it is valuable, it is rare, it is hard to imitate, and you can build your brand around it, that you can say that my videos can talk to anyone and can communicate. Yeah.
That's a correct way to put it, Evangelo. Congratulations. Yes, it's a spherical, peripheral vision, which we believe will give us at the end of the day a very important place in the market that we're already getting, but not yet when the peak, you're meeting us in the peak moment of our evolution, basically.
Yes. And I believe also that your AI approach is also another VRIO element, because I say to the students, study a company and identify the VRIO elements. The VRIO elements are the ones that they make them, you know, a little bit unique, you know. So, and I know that, you know, you have a wonderful technical team that you're working very much to integrate AI. And well, when we talk about AI is a very big concept, right? I mean, but when I was at MIT 2014, I was walking around and I was looking at the different labs, and everybody was talking about cognitive science. And I was saying, you know, why, you know, so much effort in cognitive science? And they told me that, and that, well, that was in all the schools, from the medical school, from the engineering school. We want to understand the thinking process of the human being. Either if that is a building, to see, you know, what would you like to be in an architecture, in a space, or if that is, let's say, any experience would like, and you are trying to use AI to understand, you know, how do I feel? Okay, do I like this, and how strong is my feeling?
Yeah.
And I think this cognitive science that has connected with AI, you know, like we're talking about psychology and artificial intelligence, this is the dynamic duo that generates
Correct.
the most important information, And you're on the right track, because science is moving towards this. When I was working with some projects on virtual reality, I didn't care very much on the application of virtual reality, but I wanted to understand, you know, what the person, when they were putting the goggles, the VR glasses, what they were feeling. They were feeling fear, they were feeling excitement, they were feeling, you know, the feeling is more important than the application itself. And in your case,
the meta platform of Zuckerberg is working towards the future, not yet, it's not going to happen yet, with the virtual reality that you're describing. And hopefully we're going to be inside those
in that metaverse, and you see the videos
people will exchange messages in those chat rooms of quality content videos applicable to the moment that they speak, basically.
Probably one last question, you know, everybody wants to make money, everybody wants to be rich, you know. So what was the most frequent or critical questions investors asked you? What did they want to hear from you?
The only question and the only answer that they expect is that how much your acquisition will be, so they can calculate based on their stake how much money they're going to make.
So they did not really understood, you know, what you're doing, but as long as you give them a good number, you know, they will be happy. You know, that's what you're saying.
As long as you do have a viable answer that makes sense through the numbers that you've worked or you created till that moment, because otherwise you sound like a crazy entrepreneur that sells a future acquisition without validity. So you must build validity in order for them to listen and come again in the next capital raise and follow your dream. So they stick to it only if they see results on what you have created as of that moment. You start with a beta, whatever that is, a software, hardware beta, a technology beta, and as you do the beta and as you do enter into the market, they follow what you do through reports. No investor is a fool. The full days of the internet were back in the 90s or the early 2000s and so on and so forth. Right now, you cannot fool an investor that will make an investment on something that's not tangible in front of him to see or her.
But on the other hand, you know, you have a great idea. Don't you think that, you know, you can you tell the investor, look, I don't have the number that you expect to see, but I have an idea that can change the world, or it can change, you know, the industry.
These are the first very important angel seed capital that you get because people believe in your enthusiasm, in your innovation, in your idea, and you don't have anything at the table. You must have a beta. Before even speaking to the first angel investor, you should create a first beta, just a basic beta for them to be. You must do that. You cannot only verbally.
Thank you, Vasily. I'm saying thank you because I say to the students that they must create some type of prototype, some type of wireframes, something to show, because someone will tell you, show me, you know, how does this work? Because in the last lecture, last week, we talked about wireframes and prototyping and how important it is to have something, you know, probably without a fully developed, but, you know, but when I'm saying this, it has value, let's say, 6, but when you're saying this, it has value of 10 because you know, you are the entrepreneur that you have done it. And I'm asking these questions because I just want to verify and listen, you know, from you that those are important things because students might say, do I really need a prototype? But my prototype is not fully functional. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It gives someone the idea of how it is, how it operates.
It doesn't matter. And even if this person is not going to give you money the first time, then you go back and you do a follow-up with a better beta version, and then they see the progress, they see the sweat, and they come in the next round to be able to give you their support.
Yes. Well, from me, I don't know, Shruti, if you have a question, something to add or to ask Vasilis, if there's, because from me, I am done with my questions, and I think that everything has been covered. I had some other questions, but they have been answered along the way, and also with Ilya's questions about how do you generate revenue. I will stop recording.